All right, here we go. 13.5 Briggs & Stratton engine, snowblower, Craftsman built. What's the 27-inch electric start. So there's the starter right there. I like that. Everything's on the same unit. It's AC starter, so you plug an extension cord into there and you start it up. It's a nice snowblower, or domestic built, 10 years old probably. We'll get a date on it. It's got headlights. It reminds me a lot like the Husqvarna that I fixed last year for the guys that helped cut my trees down. And Darren, I think was his name. So Darren, this is kind of like yours. Looks like there's been some welding on the muffler, just like, so that looks like a weak spot, huh? I'm almost wondering if I've been in here. So enough of the dilly-dallying around. He says they put gas in it and it pours right through. I would imagine it's probably the carburetor, and I already know what kind of a carburetor is in there. I'm going to put a little gas in first. I think it's probably got one of those Nikki carburetors, or what do you, Nikki? I don't know. I'm just going to put, excuse me, do it from the other side. I'm going to put half an inch of fuel in here and we're going to see what happens. That'll do. I'm going to start taking the covers off because he said it drips, and he's once again, like an old co-worker. I say that a lot. And if it doesn't, let's get the extension cord down, because if it doesn't leak, we can give it a go. Okay, so first we've got to turn it on. Let's go to the bunny rabbit, minus a little bit. Choke. It's got oil, I checked that. You ready? Wonder if they unplugged the spark plug. Let's have a look here. Yeah, this is just like that Husqvarna, unless this is the one I worked on it. I gotta go in the house to check. Oh, it's probably dripping everywhere. Let's try that again. Won't need it. I don't think I'm gonna need a choke now. Open. Choke open! Boy, it doesn't like me. Well, we have to check and see if there's a spark. I'm going to check the simple way first. I smell fuel, so she's... Unless it might have a... Oh, I know what's going on. You got to have the key in the hole. Ha-ha! All right. You can tell I'm used to working on old equipment, right? There's too many automatic shutdowns. It's going to start now. I'll plug this plug back in. And it's going to smoke black because I've flooded it. Okay, let's just... Now I'm starting to wonder if the kids that were using this were saying that it leaks, or if it was only leaking when you pumped the primer. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to put more fuel in it. You can always recover the fuel if we have to. And I'm just going to put about a half a tank in it and let it sit. I'm going to go in for a coffee. It's warming up today, but it's still not warm. Furnace alert. So I'm just going to take off the cover that covers the carburetor here, and then we can have an even better look. Excuse me. Got me. Okay. So we can let that hang. We don't need the key anymore because I've disconnected the ground. And then I want to get this cover off of here, and it's a 10 mil. What are you guys looking at? Let's have a look here. Right there, eh? So let's get that one off. There's got to be one more, right? No, that's it. Now we can see if it's leaking. Or if it's just when it's being primed. Let me dry things off. And we'll dry things off and we'll get a fresh rag. Hopefully it's not leaking except when it's being primed. Okay, everything's dry. It's like doing the laundry. Come on, baby. There we go. What do you think? Will that tell us if there's any leaks? There's no fuel shut off on this guy, right? Which kind of surprised me. On the Husqvarna, there's a fuel shut off right there. And I think any engine this size should have a fuel shut off, especially with a Nikki carburetor, right? Yeah, these are bolts, so you just can't pull the carburetor off. It's still screwed in tight by these Torx, male Torx. So let's let that sit for an hour. Alright, my friends, let's just see how this is going. It's been about an hour. We'll bring in the laundry. So maybe it was just leaking when they were priming it, or maybe we'll see a little bit of gas here. Not a drop, eh? So I'm thinking that when they were priming it, that's when it leaks, right? So watch this. We'll get some more light on the subject. Maybe this will help. Oh, a little bit, eh? So we prime it. Oh. That's where the gas is going. Look at that. The primer is soaking wet. So maybe we will raise this up and then see if we get some dripping. So I never noticed it was leaking out of the primer bulb. And now you'll see already the primer bulb is drying out, and we're probably getting some gas accumulation coming out of the front of that carburetor, and we are. Right there, did they see that? So sometimes it just takes a little bit of patience. So that's one reason why I got asked the question why I don't have a wood stove in here. But in Canada, I don't know what the rules are like in the States. You have to have your, if you have a furnace in your garage, the pilot light, I believe, and this is in the old days, the pilot light has to be at least 18 inches above the ground. But with an overhead furnace like that, it's very safe because gas fumes stay low, mostly. So if a garage burns down in Canada, it's usually because it's a wood stove or there's an issue. So now that I'm older and more wiser, I have a furnace guy come in once a year and inspect and do maintenance on both furnaces. The one in the house has got a computer in it, so although I'm good with computers, I'm not good with computers inside furnaces. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I wiped where I saw the gas on that carburetor. Now we'll see in the next few hours if it comes back. So on this little Craftsman big Craftsman 13.5. I had a rag under here to catch the gas coming out of the carburetor, and it didn't. It backfed into the motor and hydrolocked, and it hydrolocked in like 2 hours. So there's a major leak on this carb. So we got to get that off of there, and we got to see what's wrong. Hopefully it's just a piece of dirt, right? And it's got these little studs that are Torx, like these are male Torx. So let's just see what we got in the tickle trunk to get those off of there. Alright, we're going to get this hose off. Right, can you see that right there? Yes, you can. We're going to take this hose off the carburetor. Now, as we take these two bolts out, we're going to have to make sure that we undo the... I don't think it's a Z-bend, I think it's a hook. So let's just do that. And I'm using a 4mm socket. Okay, there's one, there's two, and then we just have to get this carburetor off of here. Come on, baby. Let's get the spring out. Sorry, whenever it gets serious, you guys can't see, but I get to work. This carburetor off that throttle shaft. There we go. Okay, come with me. And I gotta use a tray too. Oh, look at that. Goo coming out of there. I'm quite anxious to see what kind of clog is in here. There, we got one. There we go. Oh, it's right at the end of my strength position there. I know that's crazy, but it's true. Okay, this is the reveal right here. No dirt. Okay, here we are. Yes, I can hear that leaking. Let's just settle things down. We'll get the furnace off. Okay, you're with me, right? I got the Nikki carburetor here with the float. I just took it out like this. I haven't done anything. And I put a piece of fuel line on here. I can hear that. I don't know if you guys can or not. But I can feel it losing pressure. So if it's not in the jet, unfortunately then it will be in this crazy manifold thing. I'll be right back. Now we got to get a little fresh gas going here because this... Oops, so we're at that. Okay, so now I've got the needle in my hand. I'm just going to pour a tiny bit of fresh gas on that. No comments. We're going to get the float back. Get the needle in the float. And we wash it all down, ma. And I washed the needle. And we're going to put this back together again and see if we have a seal. It could be that simple. Probably not. Because I'll show you in a minute if this doesn't work. Okay, it didn't work. So now, we take it all apart again. There's some crud bunnies right there. Darknesses too. Rinse with fuel right away. Now, look at this. We got evilness. This is probably from ethanol fuel, eh? Ooh, the jet fell out. There it is. Okay, so how is our emulsion tube looking? It's big. Should be fine. I think we're good. So what I'm going to do now, if I can, is I'm going to get that little O-ring out of there, and that's usually the problem I've had on these. Oh, it's right inside the seal. See, it's right inside there, that little rubber O-ring. So let's just put this back together again now. But I'm going to do it upside down. So there we go, just like that, just like that, just like that. Most small engine mechanics are not a fan of these. Well, actually they are, because they make a lot of money on them, right? Now I'm going to drop this float back on here like that. We're going to put our seal across there and see if we got a seal. I'm going to push down on that. Just almost, man. This whole thing pressures up, right? That's what I don't like about these. Where's it leaking? We had a buildup of black crud, right? Okay. I picked up the dirt right there. Oh man, I don't like doing this. I wonder if I've got one. They send you one of each, and then you have one that doesn't have the double hole or has the double hole. Right there. Okay. Ah, Papa San. Tiny shot of air here. Good. Now, this has been sitting in gas. Gas won't hurt it. Ah. Where's that little jet? There it is. Rinse-a-roo. Now we have to get the jet in here first. Let's just make sure that's clean. Yep. Yes, my hands are filthy. Okay, where's our crazy gasket? Oh yeah, I put it on the anvil. Alright. That matches up with that. It's all pretty flippin' hokey pokey if you ask me. Not that. I'm going to blow on here now. Still leaking. Hammer still on? Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to cover this with sudsy water. We can wash that off. It's coming out of that, so we're not getting a seal on this crazy gasket. And it might even be this crazy little O-ring right there. So interesting. Okay, now we'll see what we got for stock. Look what I just came across. With the O-ring too. Well, let's just get rid of the soap and the water. Use air. So the last one I had like this, it was the little O-ring there. And when I did the soapy water, do you see that little tiny hole right there? Right there? That's where the bubbles came out. So that told me that it was leaking from underneath. We're going to do it. Oh, we're going to do it, yeah. Get that O-ring out of there. Just like that. Now, quite often they end up looking pretty weird. So, I have this. But if I remember correctly, the O-ring came out of my O-ring selection. But that doesn't matter. I think I'll put that right on there like that. Now we're getting serious now. We got the new ring and the new gasket here. We got the old gasket and the old ring here. We should have the jet up there now. We got nothing in this tray. There, now that's clean, whistle clean now. I did see a little piece of rubber in there, eh? Nikki carburetors, guys. How many guys like Nikki carburetors? Well, I know the guys that are in the business for themselves like Nikki carburetors. Right on, man. That's good. This is going to work. So now we have to take this and find a path for it like that. And then that O-ring is in there like that. We take our little jitterooner, drop him in there like that. There he's in. And then we take that. Good. And then we take this goober and we set him on right like that. And if it doesn't leak, I'm going to keep it. Okay, now the flaps like that and then like that. So it shouldn't leak. It should leak now. And it shouldn't leak now. That's it. So it was a bad, once again, it was a bad O-ring. Can you see that crazy little guy there? Right there. So now I'm just gonna put some gas in this carburetor to see if it holds it. There, that's my setup. My tank, that's my gas tank. And now if it drips onto the floor, I'll wipe this up so it won't, anything new will see it, and that's it. Talk to you in a few hours. Alright. We might have some evaporation, but we don't have any moisture coming out of this guy. So the only thing is I used that little O-ring came out of my regular O-ring stock. But it should be you know, you buy it at an automotive supply place, it should not dissolve in fuel. But we'll find out tomorrow. Thanks. So I'll just tighten up the fuel coil. Put the I should always check the ends of these because sometimes you can take a few inches off, or a half an inch, or a quarter of an inch. I think I'm going to just snip off not even a 3/16 of an inch on here and give us some fresh rubber to connect to. Before we get crazy, I'm going to do the carb bolts. The gasket never came off here. That gasket never came off. Now we're going to just pop this carburetor on with these Torx head. Now we can't start this up because remember we had that hydro locking. So we're going to have to change the oil right now. Okay, my friends. I'm using the thicker hose because this oil is cold. And I think there's some gas in it, so I'm not even contaminating my other stuff. Let's go, see what happens here. It showed about a half an inch higher Wow, that was quick. Look, I gotta get a mop. So I'm standing in water and I don't like it. It's from snow melting. So it looks like it got it already, but I am just going to go get a mop and do this right. Alright, now I'm going to just start this guy up for a couple of reasons. I want to test the carburetor that we've installed, and I want to get that old oil hot. You guys get that, eh? So the carburetor's bolted on, we've got fuel supply, we're not using the key. We should be able to prime it till it drips. Yeah, it's dripping. And I think I can do it by hand. It's pretty easy to pull. Just go to choke. Should start. Going to run it for a few minutes. Alright, I took out 1 liter of gas and oil, put in 3/4 of a liter of old oil, ran it for 10 minutes, drained that. Now I've got 3/4 of a liter of new oil in here. It might be hard to see on the stick, right? Because new oil is a little hard to tell on the color, but it's right. I don't know if you can see it on the stick. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see it right there, eh? We'll check that. You know, I'll check that 3 times before I send it back. So now I'm just going to wipe it down, do a little bit of oiling and greasing on some of the grease spots, and I think we're done. Oh, I got to put the covers on the carburetor, of course. Right? So now I'm going to do a super good inspection on that carb to make sure there's no leaks. Alright, my friends, just a quick look at the belts, and they look brand new. That one's a skinnier one, that one. I'll just turn it over a little bit. Yeah, they look good. So that, all right, everything's good in here. I used a little bit of low temperature grease on the chain, just a small amount, and a little tiny bit on the drive bar, right there. So that should be good. And yeah, things look really good. I just wiped out the bottom of the transmission pan. And we're going to put it back together again. Good. Okay, turn it on. Key is in. Should fire right up even if it was upside down. Right on. Well, thanks for following along with me on this one, guys. I know it was crazy, eh?